Life's twists and turns often bring us to a crossroads where we must decide, continue down the same worn path, or choose a new direction, no matter how daunting. The character Joe Baylor in The Guilty found himself at such a junction. The Guilty is a 2021 American thriller film directed by Antoine Fuqua and starring Jake Gyllenhaal. The film follows a troubled 911 operator who receives a call from a woman in distress and becomes embroiled in a dangerous situation. Joe is jaded, cynical, and disengaged. But when he receives a call from a kidnapped woman, he feels a stirring of his forgotten humanity. As he seeks to help her, long-suppressed emotions and memories begin to surface. Joe's dark past, including a crime he committed years ago, emerges into his present. For the first time, he sees the ongoing damage caused by his actions. And as he forms a connection with the caller in peril, he begins to reclaim the capacity for empathy, compassion, and care that he had buried deep within. These twin awakenings to the real cost of his past wrongs and the possibility of a life lived with greater purpose and love trigger an urge in Joe to make amends and seek forgiveness. He realizes he cannot move forward until he faces what he has done and takes responsibility for it. This begins the long, difficult road of atonement and redemption. Though filled with doubt, fear, and shame, Joe musters the moral courage to do what he knows is right, not just for his victim, but for his own soul. Confessing his crime and facing justice represents a will for new beginning for Joe, an emergence from shadow into light. Though the path ahead remains uncertain, Joe's decision to take the first step signifies a fundamental shift within, from numbness and avoidance to hope and a willingness to change. Having glimpsed his own capacity for good through connecting with another human being in need, Joe chooses a life of honesty, compassion, and atonement over easy deception. His call for help becomes a cry for redemption and an invitation to begin again, rebuilt on truth. The guilty must become willing to confess in order to be free. Joe's transformation begins when he summons the courage to face his crime, take responsibility, and seek forgiveness, not for escape from punishment but for release from the burden of his own lies. His decision to confess represents a rebirth of conscience and the long journey toward wholeness finally begun. Guilty is a powerful and intense film that explores themes of guilt, redemption, and the human psyche with depth and nuance. Jake Gyllenhaal gives a standout performance as Joe Baylor, and the supporting cast is equally impressive. Antoine Fuqua's direction is masterful, creating tension and suspense through a single location. Ultimately, Guilty is a film that will leave audiences thinking long after the credits have rolled, and is a must-see for fans of intense and emotional dramas. Dear friends, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe.